So today we have some very big updates about Outriders. By the way, this is official news from Square Enix. It is titled Outriders Demo 1 week later dev update. But this huge blog post right here details changes coming up to the actual game, patching the demo, changes to the loot system, weapons, and so much more. Even changes to some of these enemies as well. So yeah, also they're going to talk about in this blog post some brand new improvements to the actual game itself. Now, if you haven't heard about Outriders, it should definitely be on your radar. By the way, I'm giving away a copy, so see the giveaway details in the description below if you are interested for a chance to win a copy of Outriders for the platform of your choice. So let's do this. We'll dive straight in right now. Let's start looking at this blog post. This comes from Square Enix, and let's see what they have to say, shall we? So first of all, they go on to say this: hello everyone, it's hard to believe that a week has already flown by since we released the Outriders demo to the world. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much to everyone who has already taken their first steps into the world of Outriders. Now, since the demo launch, we've closely watched over 2 million players download and battle their way through the war-torn hellscape of Anak, and we're very excited to welcome many more as we advance to launch day on April 1st and beyond. To that end, we wanted to share some bundled information about the demo launch week and our plans for the future. And they said please use the bold font to find the issues that you want to look at. All right, so let's continue. It says, as you will remember, we launched a demo last Thursday. For a few short hours, there were some connectivity issues that impacted players trying to access the game. To cut a long story short, while our planned for infrastructure was ready for the raw number of total expected players, the speed with which those players were joining the demo during those first few hours surpassed even our expectations. So while our back-end system scaled automatically and according to player population demand, they were unable to scale fast enough at the time. Since then, we have made changes to the back end, and we should not experience a repeat of this particular issue when the game fully launches. Now, that is what I'm talking about right there. That is really cool to hear. At least that is the current expectations. And by the way, kudos to them for actually making a demo to where you can go in and replay the hell out of it, do whatever you want, and really just have some time with a game that you may be interested in. I think we're going to be seeing possibly the return to demos in the future. All right, so let's keep reading in their blog post. They say this: we kept everyone updated on our situation via Twitter handle, but in future we will additionally rely more heavily on our status page to reflect the current situation. The launch days also coincide with a temporary console service outage, the aftershocks of which may have impacted some players trying to get back into the game. We posted the fix there. Now, since launch, we have also been tracking issues and providing temporary workarounds for those that we are able to recreate on our side. Those workarounds can be found in the demo. Okay, now let's keep going. So they're fixing the game as they go. It says, what's next? What are our plans for the demo and for launch? As mentioned previously, any patches and changes for the demo need to be carefully balanced with our work towards launching the full game. Nevertheless, here are our plans for the future of the demo. Patching the demo. They go on to say this: we currently have a patch in the pipeline and are intending to release it as soon as it has passed testing, likely early next week. Here's what it will address. Let's take a look. It says resolutions that apply to all platform, added a motion blur toggle. That is freaking sweet. It's one of my biggest complaints with the actual look of the game is the fact that they have this annoying motion blur, as you can see from the gameplay when you run especially. It says made minor tweaks to frame rate output for certain items and cutscenes. However, we are working on a more comprehensive fix for the future and all platforms. Now, if we keep going, it says made improvements to cut down on the time it takes to matchmake, made other minor improvements and fixes. Now, they have additional things for PC only as well. They say fix a crash that repeatedly occurred when opening the menu or inventory on PC, fix a bug that deletes player gear if their connection drops out during a transition, and improves subtitle display synchronization on Bad Day Quest. All right, now they fixed some issues also on Xbox and then also on PlayStation. These are minor bugs. Now, let's talk about changes to the demo. Then we're going to get into changes to the actual loot system as well. It says this: a back-end update to the demo will be done during a short maintenance on Friday, March 5th at 3 p.m. GMT. This will affect all platforms. This change should be quite seamless and will not require you to download a patch. we are pre-announcing it now in order to give you advance notice of the changes. Now, some of the changes, specifically those related to enemies, are in response to feedback we've seen coming in from players, as well as what our back-end metrics are showing us. Other changes are intended to only affect the demo and may not be implemented in the full launch build. And I think they're going to be looking at what you all are going to be saying about these changes before they dare implement it into the final build of the game. Now, they go on to say the following: we would like to issue a explanatory note of caution before getting into the changes while we have balanced the main game with a certain progression system. This progression may be impacted by heavy farming of gear and or mods in the demo, as some players are front-loading a lot of that progression, such as by trying to fill their mod library or acquire multiple legendaries within the demo content already. Their experience of parts of the main game may well be impacted. Oh, really? Now, it says, of course, it's every player's decision on how to play the game for themselves, and we do not want to prevent people from farming the demo for gear if they enjoy it. However, we would like to ensure that this process is not overly simplistic, easy, or prone to exploitation. Makes sense. So let's talk about what's going to be changing. So changes to captains. The captain mob ability Healing Light will have its effectiveness reduced. The captain mob ability from the Ashes and Phoenix Aurora will have their cooldowns increased, and some players were finding it hard to fully kill captains who were would trigger these abilities, making for a frustrating rather than a challenging but fun encounter. So those are going to be the changes to captains, and so far I'm really enjoying the actual gameplay mechanics with this game, by the way, facing off against these captains and tougher enemies. Changes to the Goss. So the Goss will have his health points increased for repeat playthroughs. This is to ensure that he remains fun and challenging for players who are overpowered at this point in the story. Now, Goss healing from his ability Still Wall will also be increased, so he's going to be made more challenging as well. So that is really cool to know. Now it says, while we do not want to prevent farming runs. Now this is going to be, let me back that up a little bit. It says changes to loot drops right here. It says, while we do not want to prevent farming runs, we get it. The loot cave discovered via the triple chest run as well as the store exploit do not feel to be within the spirit of the game. To that end, we are redirecting farming efforts to mechanics in the game that may be more enjoyable for players to play through and repeat. Epic items will no longer appear in shops and vendors within the demo. Chests will no longer drop legendary items. Side quest rewards on repeat runs will now have a chance to drop legendary items. So let me know what you make of all these changes. It says drop rates for enemies are not being changed at this time, as we feel these are balanced quite well for the average player experience. Rip that captain. So what I'm seeing here is they want to make legendaries more rare. At least that's what I'm seeing from these changes. It says note that running this backend update now is also a way for us to preemptively ensure that such backend balancing can be a straightforward, low impact method of also rectifying any excessive balance issues in the main game. So they're doing a lot of testing during this entire demo phase. Go for it. As long as they test the hell out of the game now before it releases, that's good news. Now also, let's talk about some other things that they're going to be changing with the game. It says other notes and things we're addressing. Camera shake during cutscene and dialogue. This is not something that we will be able to address fully for the demo, but we are aware of the desire from players to see the shaking reduced. We believe that removing the 30 frames per second restriction during these scenes will help reduce the impact of the camera movement, but we are continuing to investigate what can be done here. Matchmaking, while the upcoming patch may help alleviate some issues here, we are keeping a close eye on the time it takes to matchmake and are continually investigating where such matchmaking is taking longer than it should. Now, what about the cover system? It says, since the demo launch, we have been paying special attention to all player feedback and have been reading discussions about the cover system in Outriders. While this is not something that we will be able to fix within the demo at this time, the main game will not only include a slew of bug fixes, for many cover locations, but it will also address and fix a handful of systemic issues that are currently affecting the cover mechanic on a global level. And I do actually like that they have this Gears of War type cover system in the game, although I find myself running around a lot more than anything. Now, what about items disappearing from player inventories? It says, this is an issue that we are treating very seriously and are doing our utmost to investigate. While our upcoming patches will address one bug causing the issue, we are continuing to track down other causes. Now, in the spirit of transparency, they go on to say, while we do not currently have a system in place that can automatically restore an affected player's complete inventory, our teams are nevertheless working hard to see what may be possible in the near future. Now, once we have identified and resolved the underlying cause for the issue, as well as further investigating the feasibility of a restoration system, we will provide the community with an update and try to get affected players back on their feet. So yeah, they're trying to figure out what's going on with any items disappearing and formulating some sort of system that can actually help recover any items that go missing, I suppose. Now, what about cheating and players using obvious exploits? So they are aware of a handful of players who are using third-party software to alter the game files and save data in their favor. And while they can't go into specifics on how they're going to fix this, they would like to assure all regular players that they are able to identify cheaters with relative ease via the backend system, and their actions should not affect your regular playing or your co-op experience. Now, they go on to finally wrap up this blog post by saying, finally, while we are continuing to work hard on polishing the main game ready for launch on April 1st, we are continuing to track player feedback and bugs coming out of the demo. We would like to close out this update by once again thanking everyone for playing the Outriders demo and sharing your feelings about it with us here. We can't wait for you to experience the full journey. So yeah, you know, the community's reaction tells me a lot. You know, the most upvoted comments here are, thanks for being so transparent and open with the community. Our pleasure. You guys deserve it, says Square Enix. And then the gentleman says, keep making content so I can keep giving you money. So a lot of good reactions from the community with that one. It seems like people are really impressed by how they are responding to issues with this game and how they are actually treating their community. So that is wonderful to see. Now remember, I am going to be giving away a copy of Outriders. This game is going to be out on April 1st. So it's going to be a big giveaway. See that description below. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.